Welcome aboard for another video.
Thanks, Conductor Keith. The purpose of this video is to take this wonderful Swift 16 small coach, which I have in 32mm gauge, but you can get it in 45mm gauge. Well, I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it into a Boxcab locomotive. I think in the UK and other places they might call them tram locomotives, but this is going to become a locomotive. I didn't want to waste anything, so you'll have to watch my next video to see what I did with this. As a general note for these small wagons, I file down the little, I guess you call them clips. They're molded in clips right there. These hold these in by snap, you know. But every now and then I want to gently pull on the ends there with my fingers to pull out the seats and chassis so that I can put different people in the coaches. These are mechano bits here that are metal, and I take my seated people and I put magnets. I drill holes in their bums and I put magnets there. Now, through the normal viewing of this going by, you don't really see these, so it's worked out quite well so far. Now, what am I going to do with that? Haha, but we know in this video what I'm going to do with this. This is called a beep locomotive by Ready Made Trains in O gauge 3-rail. Well, it's not based on any real locomotive, so for that reason it's like, it's not a real locomotive. But the chassis, now that's 32mm gauge. Here it is on an O gauge railway I built years ago. It's an inexpensive loco, which I never used much, so I wanted to put it to better use. So minus this 9-volt battery box I just happen to have, this is the chassis of that beep locomotive. 2 motors, very low draw on these motors. The bottom used to have the roller contacts for the middle third rail because of course it was an O gauge toy train. I also added these 2 weights that I just happen to have. This floor used to come out to about here, and it contained the mount for the coupler and whatnot. So I measured the inside length of the coach and carefully, using a hacksaw, cut the ends off. There was also some cutting and filing right there. None of this was particularly hard work. Just by working along and using trial and error and figuring it out, I put these little cuts in there. That allows this piece and this piece to go up into the cuts, and it puts the coach at just the right height. And what it does is it allows the coach body to clip down over these things. And because this is just a titch longer than the inside of the coach, it actually press fits quite nice. I found an old driver that I'm not using anywhere, and he was a bit short, so I put a piece of styrene there. And his arm, even though it's a bit flexible, kept preventing the coach body to go down over, so I cut it down there. Currently, I'm exploring the options I have for putting a radio control in this. Until then, this is a temporary switch that I've mounted right there, just on the bottom. It's really not good access. You kind of have to lift up the side of the locomotive in order to get your finger at that. But again, it's only a temporary measure just to see if the thing will run and what it will look like before I decide on what the RC will be. In testing this whole mechanism on the track, using a rechargeable 9-volt battery, I find I get quite a lot of use out of it before the battery starts to run down. But when I get the RC system, I might actually put this, which will have 8 rechargeable AA batteries in it. I might actually put this inside. But for now, the whole purpose of this video is to show you my locomotive, the concept. It's super easy to make, and the RC will come later. Now on to the body. This is the horn from the original beep locomotive, the O gauge one. This is a piece of Lego. This is one of the rollers from the bottom of the beep locomotive. This is one of the parts of the beep locomotive, and this is just a cutout piece of 1 to 18 scale World War II rocket. So what else did I do? Not a whole lot. Still got the front window there. This is a styrene that already comes scribed like that. More styrene. The paint, I decided to not keep it as War Department, so this is paint. Badly done, because I wanted to keep to the weathering that was already here. So, you know, slap on the paint. I discovered a method by accident to make the paint look crackled like this. One time, I was using Tamiya paint. Now, I don't know if it'll work with every other paint, but anyway, I was using Tamiya, and I needed this paint that was really old that I still had, and it was gone gummy. So, in a fit of laziness, instead of going and putting tap water in it, I spit in it a bunch and mixed it. Turns out, when it dried, this is what happened. It started to break apart like that, and I figured, oh, that must be the saliva. So in this case, I took this paint, Put some of it in a little jar, left it out for a full day until it was good and gummy, then spit a bunch in it, painted it on, and voila. Now for those you think, oh my God, that's gross, well, this whole thing has a matte varnish coat sprayed over it. So if you were to ever come and touch my rail car, no, you're not actually touching my spit. But it did make a nice effect. And this is the other side. Nice weathered effect, I think, of crackly paint that's about to peel off. This piece here was also on the Beep locomotive body. Cutting out the windows was relatively simple. This, I just picked a drill bit size I liked, drilled a hole. Similar to the back. For the front, I just made a rectangular hole for the driver. Then I thought it needed a windshield wiper. That's just a piece of brass glued on. And that's just the end of a coffee stick stirrer that I clipped off with that. Easy cheesy. Now to make sure everything stays rigid, with this up inside, I drilled a hole right through where it would be safe to do so. And I put that little screw. That screw is easy to screw in. Once it's screwed all the way in, it's so held together that I can shake it and the bottom doesn't move, doesn't jiggle, doesn't come out, nothing. It's just one screw on one side. During the build, I did take it out to run it a few times as a test. And at this point, I still thought it was going to be a War Department locomotive, so I was experimenting with parts in green. Work in progress. One thing I discovered during that test was I felt the driver's window wasn't big enough, so I made it bigger. I initially had two of these small coaches, so here's one that's untouched. It's for comparison. Here's a nun with her strawberries, it just happens to be at hand. I know it's a War Department car, but whatever. So the nun, well, maybe the nun's bringing, you know, strawberries to the troops, who knows. But anyway, she does have a magnet up her bum, which is probably the most excitement she's had in a while. And there you go, clips right in nice. As I mentioned, screwing the screw in is dead simple. If you don't take it all the way out and just carefully put it back in, it stays in the same threads of the plastic there. Perfect. And it's, you know, solid, feels solid. The only thing bouncing around in there is the 9-volt battery box. So here is a comparison between the two coaches. This is the original coach. As you can see, the nun is in there. And here is the now new locomotive. And this kind of locomotive, you know, think of all the small industrial or short line or otherwise struggling little railroads the world over that literally made locomotives out of anything, including old coaches. There is prototype precedence for this sort of thing. Well, I hope the nun's enjoying her ride. However, this coach belongs to my War Department train, my fictional War Department train. So I'm going to use my new little Boxcab locomotive for a whole new mining cart train or works train, using the small carts so far that I have from Swift 16. I'll leave a link to Swift 16 in the description of this video. We have a nice little train watcher group today at the bridge. We have Henry and Marge and of course the Friar. And now the train is about to pass the little village of New Rutabaga. I call this fellow Ambrose. Can anyone guess correctly in the comments why I call this fellow Ambrose? And here we have Morant's bear, always hanging around eating the leaves and the berries. Hi, girlie. That engine does look very nice, and I cannot wait till I can have an RC unit in it. That'd be awesome. Oh, Marge, here it comes again. Yes, indeed, Henry, and I see that they have David's Turnips and Stephen's model airplane on board. Links to their channels in the description. I need to get more of these wagons so I can have a nice long train pulled by this awesome little Boxcab locomotive. So it's run for a half hour now without any sign of slowing down. So that's pretty good. I guess I'll get more out of it. And that's just with 9 volts on full on and off. I hope you liked my video. I hope you like the idea of what I've done here. And I hope it encourages some of you to look at some of your existing equipment and kit bash away and have some fun. Soon I hope to put radio control in this. That'll be the subject of another video, of course. So please like, subscribe, but most importantly, share this video so we can help encourage our hobby.